So you're thinking about purchasing a new construction and you're like, man, I'm so excited. And literally, I don't blame you. Some of these homes that are new construction are amazing. And I'm going to go over some of the things that they don't tell you. And it's super important that you find out before you even get involved in these new constructions. And I'm going to go over a couple of questions you definitely need to find out. You're going to be in a new construction community. In most cases, when new construction communities come about, you end up finding out that they have rules and regulations. And some of those may be something as simple as you can't have a dog more than 80 pounds, all the way down to maybe you can't rent the property for more than 6 months. So it's just important that you go over the HOA rules and regulations. That way you understand what's actually going on in the neighborhood. And sometimes they even are as strict as not allowing commercial vehicles to drive with. You also probably want to know when the HOA is paid out. You want to know how much is in the budget, and if you have to contribute to that HOA up front. And in most cases in new communities, you might have to. It could be anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. It could be $500. It just depends on what the community is asking for, because they have to start out with some sort of funds. Now, besides the HOA, there's also another fee that you need to pay attention to, especially in the Orlando market, and it's called a CDD, which is a Community Development District. Before, they added this on top of the price. Now what they're doing is they're taking out bonds, which could be 30, 40, 50 years old, to help contribute to developing the area. And what they're doing is they're charging the people that are purchasing these properties on a monthly basis, sometimes even on an annual basis. So you want to make sure that you ask about those CDDs and those CDD fees. Yes, there are still some new construction communities that don't have a CDD. So it's something to consider when purchasing, because if you have an HOA already and a CDD, now you have two fees that you have to cover. Now that CDD will eventually disappear because it is a 30 to, let's say, 50-year bond. So that's another question you want to ask. How long is the bonds going to be out for this CDD? Is it 30, 40, 50 years? Because then that gives you perspective of when the bonds disappear. Another thing that's important to ask the HOAs, weather-related maintenance. And in some cases, HOAs will cover exterior of the home, just depending on what type of home that you purchase. If it's a townhome, they're going to cover the outside 100%. They cover the roof for weather damage, but they'll cover the rest of the house, and vice versa. You just have to find that information out up front. One thing with roofs, so you understand, is in most cases, the roofers will tell you that the roofs last 20 to 25 years. And not in Central Florida. They last anywhere between 15 to 18 years. We do live in a tropical climate. We get hailstorms. We get a lot of these things that happen as far as weather goes. So it's just something to ask. That way you know what you can budget for as far as expenses go when it comes to maintenance. The next one is going to be our favorite, Uncle Sam's income tax and also impact fees. When you move into a new construction neighborhood, you're going to want to ask if the actual property has impact fees, meaning that they need funds to start up the HOA so they can start maintaining the grounds and taking care of the area, and also what the taxes could potentially be based off the final sales price. Now, we don't have state income tax here, which is a great savings, and there's other ways you can save on your taxes with homestead exemptions, meaning that it's your primary residence and you're stating that you're living there at this time. We also have senior citizen exemptions, and then you have a widow, military. We've had disabled veterans I've seen before. These are all ways to help you save money. So I would 100% take advantage of it if it's out there. You also have that CDD that we spoke about. Sometimes that's charged into the taxes. So don't get confused, because when you read the taxes, sometimes it looks like it's way higher than somewhere else when really it's that CDD that's being charged. So that's one thing that a lot of new construction companies don't really discuss. And that's why when I'm talking to you about these things, this is what separates you having somebody by your side like us to help you throughout the process of purchasing a new construction. Now, if you don't have anybody that you're working with in Central Florida, me or my team can definitely help you. We're here days, nights, and weekends, and people are reaching out to us all the time. If you'd like, you could give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Our information is down in the description. One of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of people doing, and unfortunately it's more common than not, is purchasing a property that seemed like it was an amazing deal, only realizing that it's harder to sell in the future, or that it's further away than what they anticipated from where they want to work. And so it's important when you're looking at these new construction homes to calculate how far the commute is potentially going to be, what toll roads you're going to take. Look at all those avenues, because at the end of the day, I've had previous clients that have purchased on their own. Hey, William, we purchased a home on this side of town, and unfortunately, we want to sell it. And it's not even a year later. They didn't anticipate the amount of traffic. They didn't anticipate the commute. And just so you get a basis, the commute in Central Florida could be anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. And that's pretty normal here in the Orlando area. A lot of the times, the new development areas are going to be on the outskirts of Orlando, but that doesn't stop you from having an amazing commute. Sometimes, even if it is on the outside of Orlando, they have several highways that can get them to wherever you need to go. And so that's the cool part about inquiring up front, because then you know, okay, well, I love the home, I love the way it looks, but does this suit me for commuting to work? Sometimes it's even worth a couple $1,000 more to pay in house just so you can save on time, because if you know time is something you don't get back in this life. And I feel like it could be more expensive than living so far away where it's going to take you a 1 hour commute to get home every day, or 2 hours, or sometimes even 3, just depending on where you're looking at. So just something to consider when looking at the traffic patterns and the commute from where your new construction is to where you're planning to work. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. A lot of people are talking about this right now, and it's insurance costs. Insurance has gone pretty expensive here in Orlando. The reason for that is because we do live in a tropical climate. A lot of insurance companies have pulled out of the state, but like I tell all my clients, there's insurances that leave and insurances that are trying to get share here. And all you have to do is just find the right one that suits you and has the right amount of coverage. And so when you're looking at a property that's new construction, make sure you're looking and seeing if it has a flood zone. Flood zone is not an obligation for the insurance to cover. It's actually extra. So if you want that lake view, make sure the home is high enough to where it's not in a flood zone. And this is something you can ask the builder. Another thing you're going to want to ask the builder, especially if this is a master plan community, is to see how it's going to be like living in the environment of a construction zone. Remember, a lot of these developments are going up pretty quickly, and your home may be in the center of where both neighbors are still being built. I would suggest you go there throughout the day just to see what the atmosphere is like if it is that new of a neighborhood. Also, I would ask, what is the projection on these neighborhoods being built? Because it can affect you long term. Let's say, for instance, this is a starter home and you guys plan to grow maybe a family, or you plan on getting a bigger house, or maybe even downsizing because a lot of your kids are probably leaving out the home. Well, one thing you're going to want to know is how long is the development going to be, because for resale purposes, you don't want to be the one competing with the actual builder, which is a nightmare because they're going to win every single time. Let's say, for instance, my home was built in 2020 and then the builder is still in the community building homes in 2024. They're going to be able to offer incentives and other things that you got for your home. So it's really important for you to know when the neighborhood will be completely developed and use that to your own benefit. But it's just something to think about before committing to such a long-term objective of staying in that house. Is how long is the construction period going to be, not only for noise but for resale purposes as well. Speaking of resale value, there's a huge benefit to moving into a new construction community. And that is, if you buy in early, the opportunity of appreciation will go a lot higher. What do I mean by that? Well, every single month, the builder is going to always push up the price, ultimately helping you have an amazing amount of equity once the whole entire neighborhood's built out. So it's just something else to consider is if you're looking to purchase a new construction, find out when they think the projected date of build will be finished for the whole community. Just, you have to understand that for resale purposes, it may affect you. You want to make sure that the area is going to influence the potential that that property may have in the future. And that's why you need to reach out to an agent like ourselves, because we're here to help you throughout that entire process. Another great thing about purchasing a new construction is we actually help you figure out what those incentives are. And sometimes it can be closing costs, money towards the design center. It could be a variety of things. That's why it's super important that you reach out to us, because we're here to help you throughout the process in understanding all of the things that no one talks about. That way you can make the decision if the home is a great fit for you or not. And of course, aesthetics is everything, but these questions are just as important. So feel free to give us a like down below if you like this video. Hopefully it was informative. And if you're thinking about moving to Orlando, comment down below. Where are you going? Where in Orlando are you guys planning to move to? Because we're happy to help you here. And if you love this content, subscribe, because we're putting out videos every single week and we love to hear from you guys.